Hello, you beautiful human. I am Xanthe, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you an interview that I did with a man named Matt. He is a lovely man. He does drag, and here is his story.
And know that you're not alone. That's the main thing.
Somebody that is going to take you in. Love yourself.
Being your truest self and going from there.
Once you come out, most of the time, things feel easier.
It was lovely to see you.
You as well.
It's really not good. It was a very big mistake.
Oh no. Because, you know, rainbows.
Well, you know, there's that.
Rainbows are pretty good. Hello.
Hello.
So I guess I'll start asking you questions and stuff. So, yeah.
Sure.
So your name is Matt.
That's right.
And so then what do you identify as, Matt?
I'm a gay man. I'm a cisgender man.
Okay. And, so what, you do drag, correct?
I do, yes.
Okay. And then, so what different, people do you play? Like, what are the different names?
So my drag persona is Ms. Larissa Thorne. She's been married several times. She's always on the lookout for the next husband. She's a singer, she's a comedian. She thinks she's the next big hit, but she hasn't quite got there yet.
Mm.
And then I also perform burlesque, which is under a different persona, which is Raven Divine, which is sort of my non-binary persona.
Okay.
Because when I was started burlesque, I thought, I can't do it as Larissa. Larissa has a certain shape, which is achieved with padding. And so that would spoil the illusion with the art of the striptease. So I have a different persona for the burlesque than for the drag.
All right. And how long have you been doing that?
Drag I've been doing for just over 2 years now.
Okay.
Burlesque is more recent. I started that last year. I've only had one performance on stage performing burlesque so far.
Oh.
That was amazing. It is, you know, for a 40 plus year old to be cheered for taking their clothes off is encouraging.
I love that. And so is this your profession, or do you have another job that you do?
I've got a day job. I'm a security manager in a museum by day, and then various performance things of an evening when I get the chance.
That must be really cool, being it, like your job.
It's good fun. It's very interesting, especially at the moment with the lockdown, because I'm wandering around a pretty much empty museum. There's no visitors allowed in at the moment. So it's a very different place than when there's members of the public inside. And I'm finding all sorts of interesting new exhibits as I'm wandering around.
That's so cool. And then, so I'm gonna get back to your sexuality. So when was like the first time you can remember feeling different than your surrounding peers?
I can't remember not feeling different.
Oh.
And part of that is I was losing my hearing when I was younger, so I was quite insular because I couldn't hear everything that people were saying. I would sit and I would read rather than, I wasn't so outgoing then. I guess it was my crushes when I was little that made me realise I was different. So I used to read a lot of Enid Blyton books, and I had a crush on Julian from the Famous Five.
Oh.
So that was quite young. That was when I was sort of 7 or 8, I suppose, that I had that crush.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had better friendships with women and girls than boys. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going entirely with that, but yes.
No, that's okay, yeah. And so So you are gay and then you're cisgender, you said?
Yes.
Can you explain to me a little bit what that means?
So cisgender means that I identify as the gender of the body that I was born into.
Perfect. And
Um,
then, yeah.
although I perform in drag, I don't feel like I'm a woman. That's for entertainment purposes. I feel that I am a man and I'm in the body of a man.
Perfect. Yeah, because some people wouldn't understand like what that means. So that's
Sure.
perfect. Thank you so much. And so when did you decide to tell people about your sexuality? When did you come out?
I was probably about 19 when I started coming out. I came out quite late by today's standards. And the first person I came out to was my mother. There's the cliche of the gay man who gets on very well with his mum, and that's entirely true in my case.
Mm-hmm.
And my mum was very accepting. My sister's gay as well, and she'd come out before me, so it's kind of like she'd paved the way. But it was still hard for me because I was worried about letting my father down.
Mm.
And I think for gay males, I think that's one of the biggest hurdles, because there's this expectation to carry on the family name. Yeah, so I mean, as it happens, my dad was very good about it when I did come out. It was a bit dicey at first. There was a bit of frostiness. And for ages, he hoped I was bisexual because he thought there's a 50-50 chance of me settling down with a woman. But, um, but you know, he was really supportive. They both of my parents came to my wedding. You know, they were on side. They get on very well with my husband.
That's wonderful. And so then when you came out to more people, like your friends or people that you know, what was their reaction?
Um, mostly positive. Mostly positive. There was only one person who, there was one member of my family that turned their back on me when I came out, which was tough. They never told me that was the reason they turned their back on me, but because of the timing,
Yeah.
that was the only thing that made sense. And it took the death of both my parents for me to come to a place where we could talk, because this was my brother. So it was quite difficult. I mean, we had funerals to plan and everything, and it was quite difficult working through that together. I mean, we're now at a place where we could talk to each other, but it's I wouldn't say it's a warm relationship.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, it's one of those things. The rest of my family have been wonderful. I have a very close relationship with my sister. We got on very well. So,
Hmm. And you texted me before and you say that you have a daughter. And can you tell me a little bit about how she came to be and if there was any like big hurdles in the way?
so I was a donor for her,
Hmm.
and she is my sister and her now ex-girlfriend's daughter. But she's also mine and my husband's. Um, so yeah, she's wonderful. Um, I mean, she's grown up now. She's in her 20s, and I'm very proud of her.
Aw.
Um, but yeah, it was. She's. It's like she's a part of both families. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, she's got more parents than she knows what to do with. Although in other ways, in a weird way, because I didn't raise her, I'm uncle rather than father in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
It's quite a complicated relationship,
Yeah.
but it works.
Yeah. So then back to your job at the museum.
Yeah,
Do your coworkers know about your sexuality?
they do. I'm very open about my sexuality, and nearly everyone I work with is fine with it. I even have turned up the last couple of years to staff parties as my drag alter ego.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm turning up in a wig and a frock, um,
That's awesome.
and you know it's funny because there's a mix. There's always been a mix of sort of, because it's security. There's been a lot of ex-forces and ex-police, but also because it is the heritage sector. There's always been a high percentage of gay people working at the museum as well. So it's a nice mix, a
Yeah.
melting pot.
Okay. And with other jobs in the past, if you had any, was there any issue with your sexuality, or was it just fine?
It's been pretty good at work. I mean, I've always worked in museums, in theatres, in exhibitions. My first job before that was in the fashion industry, so of course there was no problem being a gay man there, but that was before I was out. So yeah, I've not really faced any discrimination at work because of it. It's been good.
That's good. Um, and then you said that you came out at 19. But how was your high school experience?
Um, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I got bullied. I mean, it was mainly name calling because I was quite a bulky teenager. So I didn't get a lot of like physical abuse. But you know, there was people shouting at me in the playground that I was gay, and I didn't even know that for sure myself at that time. Which I think was one of the reasons it took me so long to come out, because I'd had people saying it to me like it was a shameful thing, something to be ashamed of. But, you know, obviously I know now it isn't.
No.
But at the time it made it very difficult to come out.
For sure. So then, what would you say are the biggest misconceptions about your sexuality?
I think amongst straight men, it's the misconception that because I'm gay, I'm attracted to them. You know, it's just like a straight guy will have their taste in women. I've got my taste in men. I don't fancy someone just because they happen to be male.
Yeah. Exactly. And then, what is the hardest part about being part of the LGBTQ plus community for you?
At the moment, I'd say it's the division, particularly for transgender people. I mean, facing abuse from outside and discrimination from outside the community is an ongoing struggle, but facing it from within the community it's very sad to see. There's a movement towards breaking the LGB away from the T in some sectors, saying that LGB is your sexuality, while transgenderism is about your gender. So it's a different issue. But to me, we have more in common with transgender people than we have differences. And, you know, with the Stonewall riots and various campaigns for gay rights, transgender people have been leading the way. So we should not be turning our back on them now. So yeah, I feel that there's factionism in the LGBT community, and that's the biggest weakness of it at the moment.
Yeah. And with your drag, do people question you about being transgender a lot, or do they just understand that you just like to perform like that?
People have asked. Yeah, people ask. It is, I think, within the community, there isn't the confusion, but from outside, sort of from parents, there's some confusion over what it all means.
Yeah. And then, what is the best part about being part of the community for you?
I think the strength of the community is that we can make our own families. I've been very fortunate that for the most part my family have accepted me, but I know a lot of people in the community aren't as lucky. So I think it's so important that we embrace each other and give each other the support that we would normally get from a family if we're not able to get that support there.
All right. And then what if someone came up to you and they're struggling with their identity, their sexuality, what would your advice be to them?
I think there's a lot of pressure to come out. And I think it's something that has to be in someone's own time. Only they know how their family are going to accept them, their friends are going to accept them. And, you know, I don't think if someone chooses not to come out, that's their choice. I mean, there's been, when someone is outed against their will, I think that's a terrible thing. So I think it's very important that people take their time, make sure it's the right decision for them, and yeah, come out in their own time.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love that. Is there anything else that you would like to share with someone who's watching this video, maybe trying to figure out their own sexuality, or maybe just want to know a little bit, like a fun thing about you?
If there's someone thinking about their sexuality, I mean, when I was growing up, there weren't the positive role models on TV that there are now for the LGBT community. The only time you really saw gay people on TV was as the comic relief. Like, I don't know if you'll have seen Are You Being Served, this British sitcom, but they had a very camp figure who was just the object of fun. And that's not what the community is. And the community is out there. If you're struggling with your sexuality, go out there, meet people. Or, I mean, we've got the internet now, go onto forums online, chat to people, get advice, and know that you're not alone. That's the main thing, because it can feel very isolated if you don't know any LGBT people. But you're not alone. There's other people out there who are happy to help.
Thank you so much, Matt. It's been lovely talking to you and getting to know you and hearing your story and everything. I hope you have a lovely day, and yeah, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Nice meeting
you. Bye, Matt.
Bye-bye.
I really hope you enjoyed his story. If you did, leave a like for Matt. He is amazing. Comment down below what your favorite part was and if you could relate to anything that he said. Make sure that you subscribe and hit the little bell for more videos just like this one. And here are some more videos to watch. Have a lovely day. I'll see you next week.